जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदना व्रजनरंजना। यशोदानंदना व्रजनरंजना। यमुनातीरावनाचारी। यमुनातीरावनाचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यमुनातीरावनाचारी। यमुनातीरावनाचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यमुनातीरावनाचारी। यमुनातीरावनाचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। एवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतम् श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की, गुरुपति पावन श्रील प्रभुपाद की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की, हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की, श्री श्री राधा मोहन, श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रमाय, श्री श्री गौर निताय की, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 13, text number 13. Yes. Anyonya Vitta Vyati Sangha Vriddha. Anyonya Vitta Vyati Sangha Vriddha. Vairānubandho Vivahanmitascha. Vairānubandho Vivahanmitascha. Advani Amushmin Urukrutshavitta. Advanyamushmin Urukrutshavitta. Bhada Pasarger Viharan Vipannaha. Bhada Pasarger Viharan Vipannaha. Anyonya Vitta Vyati Sangha Vriddha. Anyonya Vitta Vyati Sangha Vriddha. Vairānubandho Vivahanmitascha. Vairānubandho Vivahanmitascha. Advanyamusmin Urukrutshavitta. Advanyamusmin Urukrutshavitta. Bhado Pasarger Viharan Vipanna. Bhado Pasarger Viharan Vipanna. anyonya, with one another, with the Vyatisanga. By monetary transactions, Vruddha increased, Vaira Anubandhaha. One is encumbered by enmity. Vivahan, sometimes marrying. Mitaha, one another. Cha, and Advani, on the path of material existence. Amushmin, that Guru Krishna, by great difficulties, Vittabadaha, Vittabadha, by scarcity of money, Upasargai, by diseases, Viharan, wandering, Vipannaha, one becomes fully embarrassed. Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadramai Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Due to monetary transactions, relationships become very strained and end in enmity. Sometimes the husband and wife walk on the path of material progress, and to maintain their relationship, they work very hard. Sometimes due to scarcity of money or due to disease condition, they are embarrassed and almost die. Purport. In this material world, there are many transactions between peoples, societies, as well as between nations. But gradually, these end in enmity between the two parties. Similarly, in the marriage relationship, monetary transactions are sometimes overpowered by the dangerous conditions of material life. One then becomes diseased or monetarily embarrassed. In the modern age, most countries have developed economically, but due to business exchanges, relationships seem to be strained. Finally, wars are declared between nations, and as a result of these upheavals, there is destruction all over the world, and people suffer heavily. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Akshurun Bilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsa He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Adhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Dev Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srimasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Due to monetary transactions, relationships become very strained and in enmity and end in enmity. Sometimes the husband and wife walk on the path of material progress, and to maintain their relationship, they work very hard. Sometimes due to scarcity of money or due to diseased conditions, they are embarrassed and almost die. Mukam karoti machalam, pangum langayate girim, yat kripatamaham vande, Shri Gurum Deenatarinam, Paramanandam Madhamam, Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So, welcome to the Sunday morning program here in the Iskcon Temple. So, in today's verse, Rahugana is being taught by Jadabharata. You see, Jadabharata is a renounced person, completely renounced. And he understands the futility or uselessness of investing too much mind energy into material life. Completely futile and useless. To invest so much of our consciousness, time, effort, energy in material life. Because material life is not destined to be very glorious or very, very successful. Maybe sometime, for some duration of time, people are successful. But generally, some point of time or other, the pain of this material existence will catch up with them. Maybe they are very rich, born rich, etc. But eventually it will catch up with them, either due to disease or old age or death or family split or something like that. So that's when they will also realize that uh, uh, exclusively being dedicated to material progress, material life, material well being, material opulence is futile. It's not, it's not a very good investment of time and energy. Because if you have too much money, then you will have a huge challenge trying to maintain it. Too much money, maybe there are too many enemies. Too much money, even the government is interested in snatching some of it from you. Everybody wants to snatch something. And these days, you can hardly trust the governments that are ruling nowadays. Because they're also made up of people who are very greedy, thirsty, hungry, and lack any morality, complete lack or absence of morality. So they will also come up with new smart schemes, basically just to snatch something that you have. Gone are the days when the kings were supposed to be the father, king and queen, the father. Actually, in the Vedic literature, it is said that the child has 6 or 7 mothers. The nurse who has given birth, Mother Earth, the wife of the guru, your real mother, the queen, like that. They're all mothers. I mean, not in a very sentimental way, but in reality, they were acting like mothers. They were well wishers. They really cared. They, they really had genuine feeling and commitment. It's not just some sentiment value. So that was a different type of society because it was more God centric. It was more dharma and karma based. So today, neither of these two things exist. Neither dharma nor fear of karma exists in society. So because neither of them, and then the other problem that people have nowadays is that we don't have a role model. That is the biggest tragedy in the modern day civilized world. We don't have a proper role model whom we can look up to in public life. All our role models are extremely compromised people. No morality, no principles, no ethics, very selfish, very self centered, and sometimes very ruthless and cruel also. So, the absence of role models is another thing don't get any proper inspiration to follow dharma or to be righteous, to be truthful, to be honest. We don't have anybody whom we can point out and say, here is this person who stood for the truth, who stood for common good, who was a well-wisher of all people. We don't have anybody. Sometimes Prabhupada says that sometimes this democracy business is not so good because a lot of people who vote, vast majority of them, are not sufficiently cultured and educated. Vast majority. So they are the ones who decide who our ruler is going to be. Imagine what kind of people they will elect. Because they're very, they lack, basically none of them have an idea about the existence of the soul and eternality of the soul, how the soul will take karma and go into another body. So they're just short-term living. They're just worried about what they see and experience at the present moment. What am I experiencing today, now, here? What happens tomorrow? I don't care. I don't know. I don't care either. So such people vote. So what will they vote? So vast majority of those people can actually be cheated or bought out. Blocks of people like that can be bought out in a democratic election. Democracy will work only when we have well-informed people and who are strong in righteousness, principles, and morality. Very strong, fearless, selfless. Democracy cannot work even if somebody is very selfish also. Prabhupada said, what can you do? Fools are electing, or rather, fools are being cheated, and somebody who's very expert at cheating gets elected. So there is no role model, there is no, the kings and the rulers, highly compromised and selfish people. And they're only looking at furthering the cause of their family, their friends, or their community, or something. They hardly bother about. So because of this overpowering selfishness in everybody's mind, and so everybody becomes more selfish than the other person. They're actually a competition of how selfish we can be. So whether it is water or land or anything, we see so many states fight with each other. I mean, sometimes they fight with each other even over a language. They will say, no, this language has to be imposed. This language is older than that language. That language came from this language. So they're very expert at diverting the attention of the people, and this is what is called democracy in modern life. But here it is mentioned in this string of shlokas that Jadabharata is telling Rahugana that because of all these degradations, they're causing more pain and suffering for the ordinary living entities. And the ordinary living entities are subjected to so much pain, so much harassment, so much embarrassment, so much cruelty, so much cheating, so much betrayal. Because there's no knowledge, there is no wisdom, there's no knowledge about dharma, about eternal principles of Varnashrama society. So the Varnashrama society was touted as the single solution for all the ailments of the modern society. But then Varnashrama means people again, they twist it to say that it's a very elaborately sophisticated camouflage caste system where a particular class likes to and wants to oppress and exploit all the other classes. So, of course, the foundation of Varnashrama system is proper knowledge. Chaturvanya Maya Shishta Gunakarma Vibhagasa. Somebody is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or the fourth class based on their qualities and how they act, and not because of their birth alone. Definitely not because of their birth alone. So that's called the Devi Varnashrama system. But Devi Varnashrama system unites everybody for a common goal. The common goal is not, not restricted to material progress. The common goal is spiritual advancement also. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam means ultimately the society should move in the direction of pleasing Vishnu, pleasing Krishna, doing activities which are pleasing to Krishna. Haritoshanam. But that part is missing in today's society. So there will be peace in society. There will be equality. Everybody speaks about equality. Equality. There will be some kind of. Prabhupada actually used the phrase spiritual communism. Everybody is equal in the eyes of God. Prabhupada coined this. But it's not that everybody is equal in front of the state or the government or something. That doesn't work. So the state also sometimes tends to be very selfish. Spiritual communism means we are all uniting for one common spiritual goal, which is Samsiddhir Haritoshanam, satisfaction of Vishnu, serving Vishnu, worshipping Vishnu, like that. So, if that element is taken out of society where everybody works together to serve Vishnu, then again it becomes a society of people with animalistic tendencies, demoniac animalistic tendencies. Eventually, Prabhupada is explaining here that maybe one country is having business dealings with somebody else, or we are having business dealings with some other firm. But eventually, the spirit of wanting to cheat will catch up, and then eventually they'll become enemies. Money is like that. Money is sweeter than honey. Actually, the entire set of shlokas, Raghuna is being educated. Jada Bharata is educating Raghuna, saying, this money this one thing called money is enough to destroy the whole society, provided we don't handle it with respect, with culture, with truth, with honesty, with determination, etc., with morality. If we don't handle money with morality and with fear, some element of respect and fear, and some element of understanding that money is meant to serve common good in the society, eventually meant to give us opportunity, facility, whatever, to serve the Lord, be engaged in the service of the Lord. So where there is money without morality, it's a recipe for trouble, fight, rivalry. So here Prabhupada is mentioning maybe they begin their transactions as business, but because there's money and there is selfishness, eventually it will get reduced to enmity between the two countries or societies or whatever you. So it's very, which is why the Varnashrama system has a lot of check and balances. The Kshatriyas have to be, broadly speaking, under the Brahminical class of people. The Brahminical class of people are very renounced, truthful, selfless, and very driven by dharmic values and bhakti values, the Brahminical class. They're fearless. Like, for example, when Dasharatha Maharaj performed yagya to beget children, Dasharatha Maharaja was so pleased when a divine personality, not divine personality, it was performed and he got this bowl of sweet rice kheer. And it was told to him, please go and distribute to your wives and they will have children. He became so happy that the yagya that he performed was successful, that he calls all the priests who were assembled there and does something very unimaginable nowadays. Completely unimaginable. He distributes his entire kingdom to all these priests. Entire kingdom distributes to them. He says, you take this portion, you take that portion, you take this portion, left with nothing. The priests will accept it. All the priests will accept it. And after some time, they'll come back to Dasharatha and return it to him. Return the kingdom back to him. They will say, see, if we accept this kingdom, then we may have to compromise our life, having to indulge in politics and protecting the kingdom and so on. We may have to give up our existing profession, which is to be, very renounced and dedicated and fearless devotee sages and acharyas and teachers. We may have to give up all of that because politics involves making adjustments. Politics involves looking at somebody as friend, somebody as enemy, somebody as neutral, and like that. We don't want to do that. We want to look at everybody as children of God. We want to assist and serve the whole society without discrimination. So we will lose this ability to live like that. And by the way, you are the best king. The way you're taking care of the kingdom, nobody else can do better job than you. We all feel very secure, protected, happy, safe, and we feel that you're upholding dharma, and you're ready to fight for dharma, fight for peace, fight for the rights of the devotees, etc. Every class of society, you stand up for them. So the society as a whole is very well situated under you, so you better take back the kingdom, and like that. So they return it. We see the same thing happening in Prithu Maharaj's story also. He does this sacrifice, maybe the 100 Ashwamedha Yagya or something, and he distributes all that he has and they return it back to King Prithu. So the Brahmanas were actually, Prabhupada also says that the deterioration of the Kali Yuga began when Brahmanas became compromised and started making adjustments, started being untruthful, making adjustments, started exercising their powers in a very unfair manner, unjust, unfair manner. So that is when the deterioration of Kali Yuga started. Prabhupada says, today in the society, we have economic development, so much advancement, so much technology, but we don't have a good brain. We don't have a good brahmanas are not there. So he said, Iskcon's first responsibility is to create first-class brahmanas in the society. So, if nobody is managing the society, nobody is guiding, nobody is inspiring, nobody is creating fear, sometimes some fear also has to be created so that the miscreants and the vagabonds are restrained. So that is the job of the Kshatriya. If such things don't happen, then this is what happens to the society, as explained by Jada Bharata, Maharaj, Rahugana. Even the ordinary people, the ordinary women folk, citizens, they will also undergo so much suffering, embarrassment, pain, etc. Provided if it is devoid of God consciousness. But if there is God consciousness, then the whole different culture will be there. Completely different culture. We are all working for the mission of Guru to satisfy Lord Hari, Vishnu. We follow the same scripture, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and the Puranas, and Chaitanya and Charitamrita, the teachings of it. We chant more or less the same. We chant the names of God. We worship. We have common festivals. And we have the Brahminical class, which is instructing, teaching. And we have the Kshatriya class, which is implementing, the tough part, implementing the principles. And of course, we have the Vaishya and the other class, which are engaging in their Swadharma. But because there's a common goal, there is bhakti, there is common acceptance of one common scripture. Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, the Puranas, Upanishads, and other teachings of great sages, Manu teachings, teaching of Brahma, Narada, etc. So there is unity of purpose and vision. And there's always this consciousness that I don't want to do anything wrong. And I don't want to carry a legacy of bad karma into my next life. I don't want to carry that. Nor do I want to be a bad example in the society now. Which is why in the Sakshi Gopal story, you see that the old Brahmana makes a promise when he's taking the young Brahmana, or the young Brahmana takes him around. The old Brahmana makes a promise to this young person saying, once we go back, I'll get my daughter married to you. But once he comes back home, he realizes that it's not as easy as he thought. Though he wanted to get his daughter married to this poor, uneducated, but very devout Brahmana, very devout, gentlemanly Brahmana young man. His family members oppose and they will say that, no, how can you get our daughter married to this? What does he have? How can he take care of your wife, our daughter, or our sister? What does he have? Neither does he have money, nor does he come from a sophisticated aristocratic family, nor does he have the wealth. Nothing, he has nothing. So they force this elderly person to break his word. So the elderly person becomes scared to mention also that, I promised you when I took you there. And then they threaten this young boy saying, if my father had actually said that he'll give his daughter to you, show some proof, bring some witness. They threaten him, knowing fully well that he cannot bring anybody. So you can see that what happens when somebody becomes selfish and lacks morality. So the poor Brahmana says, there is one witness, and that is the Lord himself. So the son of the Brahmana will threaten him and challenge him. If he was actually witness, you go bring him. Then I'll believe you. Knowing, or he thinks that the Lord will, the deity form of the Lord will never come, nor will he speak. He's so confident. So all this reflects that deterioration of the faith structure. He doesn't have faith that the deity form is actually as good as the Lord. The Lord in his pleasure, out of his discretion, may choose to do anything at any point of time. Lord is not restricted. God is not, can't be restricted. God is Swarat. He is absolutely independent and he will choose to do whatever he wants to in order to please his devotees, as per the agenda and plan of the Lord. He will do. So he least expected that this little young Brahmana, the young Brahmana will say, oh really, you think he won't come? All right, let me see. You're so confident that he won't come. I'm confident that it's up to the Lord. If he wants, he can come. Nobody can stop him. I can only go and pray. Request the Lord to come. Then it is up to the Lord. The Lord cannot be, the Lord can do whatever he wills. But in order to that we don't misunderstand this Leela, it's very clearly explained that it was not this young boy's intention to marry that girl and marry into a rich family. Poor boy marrying a rich man's daughter. That's not the story here. Actually, it's a different mood. This young boy, young Brahmana, he will be thinking that if this elderly person who made a promise breaks his promise by not giving his daughter in marriage to me, then he's committing great sin. He promised that in front of Gopal, in front of Sakshi Gopal, in front of Gopal in a temple, in a dham, properly, in proper consciousness. He will be committing great aparadh. So this young boy is very concerned that this elderly Brahmana doesn't get implicated in bad karma. And he guesses, he thinks that the elderly man is being forced not to accept this proposal. So in order to save this Brahmana from becoming implicated in karmic reaction and in breaking the word of a Brahmana, which is a big sin. Look at the consciousness of this young boy. He says that if the elderly Brahmana, it's a huge sin. It should never be done. And we should not allow it to happen. We should try and help this man so that he doesn't commit this aparadh of saying something and breaking that, saying something in front of the deities and breaking it subsequently. So he says, let me go and petition Gopal. Tell him that please come to save this Brahmana, not really so that I get a rich man's daughter. That's secondary. He goes there in order to bring, so that dharmic principles are upheld in the society. The Lord becomes very impressed by the mood of this Brahmana, and actually, we know the story. The Lord starts walking behind this Brahmana, young boy. So, the truth mattered in our society at one point of time. The truth mattered. Morality was very important. Uh, Being fair and honest was considered a man's primary character. Being fair, being honest, being devout, being devotional, being respectful to elders and brahmanas and teachers in the society. These qualities were considered cornerstones of a civilized society. And that's when there is harmony. That's when there is less suffering in this world. Otherwise, there will be suffering. As it is, this is Dukkalayam Ashashvatam. Because this place is not meant for us to be a permanent residence. This is a prison house. We should never forget that. In the prison house, if you are a devotee, then there's a good chance that your material sufferings will substantially reduce. Because you're following dharma, you're chanting, you're doing the best you can. You're being the best devotional service that you can while being in the prison house you're doing. Actually, when we do devotional service very intensely, very with great determination and following the instructions of Guru Parampara, you also get what is known as, you become liberated from the effects of this material world or the prison house. Mukti, you get some kind of mukti. Mukti means you become liberated from the influence of the three modes. Primarily, that's what it means. You become liberated from the modes of ignorance, passion, and goodness. And you come under Sattva Guna, Shuddha Sattva, which means you'll be driven by divine considerations, spiritual considerations, and not materialistic considerations. So, that is the best chance we have to lead a gentlemanly life in this material world. If we are dharmic, we are following the instructions of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, Scripture. That's the best chance we have to become liberated and less implicated in violent karmic reaction. And for that to happen, you need powerful acharyas, fearless teachers, who are also acharyas. Acharya means one who teaches by example. And we need a favorable, conducive atmosphere where you can practice these principles of bhakti fearlessly. It can't be like, if you're a devotee, you're being harassed by demons like Ravana, like Kataka, Maricha, Bahu, like that. You can't follow easily. But in this material world, right now in Kali Yuga, none of these support system is available. None of them practically, except one Guru Parampara, maybe one or two Guru Paramparas that are coming down from the time of Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya. These are the only hope. The other Paramparas have also either diluted their teachings or compromised or adulterated. They've completely mixed up many things. Other Paramparas, they were great at some point of time, but we cannot say that their greatness is still there today. So one of the only hope is the Brahma Mahatma Gaudiya Guru Parampara system to preach, to rescue, to save, to provide shelter for the people of this world. Others are symbolic, sentimentally present. They may not actually provide the kind of protection, the extent of protection that you get from the Guru Parampara of Lord Chaitanya. That kind of intensity of protection, complete 360-degree protection, you don't get from other Paramparas. So that way we should be very grateful to Srila Prabhupada and for fearlessly presenting the message of the Parampara, fearlessly and very sweetly and expertly also presenting the message of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna, and giving giving people a chance to come under that kind of a shelter, support system and shelter. So it's interesting, it's very inspiring to see so many people take shelter, come forward and take shelter under this system of bhakti, sadhana bhakti, as enunciated by Guru Parampara, as presented by Srila Prabhupada. So we're all fortunate in that sense. Otherwise, the story that Raghuvana is hearing from Jadabharat will be our story, your and my story. There'll be cheating, betrayal, embarrassment, disease, um, penury. Penury means absolute, abject poverty. And like Jadabharata is saying, having to go around with a begging bowl and being insulted, humiliated, even to maintain your family, basic necessities of your family, you may have to do that. Go around and beg. That would have been our fate. Or if you don't want that to be our fate, then we end up having to cheat. People have no faith in the government to the extent that they don't like to pay their taxes. So why should we pay? What are we getting in return? All of them together, the government people, all of them together, anyway will loot that money and distribute amongst themselves. Why should we pay taxes? There's some kind of an open rebellion happening in different countries of the world right now. So many of our neighboring countries, some kind of a Gen Z revolution, saying why should we pay taxes? What are we getting in return? We see that these politicians and their families getting more and more richer and corrupt. This would have been the story. But that is why it is said that the king takes 1/6 of the karma of all the citizens of his province. 1/6 of their karma goes to the king. So the king, if he is very knowledgeable, he'll be very worried and concerned. I will get the karma of 1/6 share of the karma of all the citizens and whatever nonsense they do. So he will be very concerned and he will do whatever he can to uphold dharma. And like I said, Varnashrama, Daivi Varnashrama system. So there is this whole anomaly or peculiar situation in the material world right now. And people are searching for hope, searching for shelter, searching for the truth, searching for peace, searching for happiness, searching for security. And you can't get it. You can't get it today in today's world in Kali Yuga. Because we don't know who will attack whom, when, and for what reason also. Sometimes people attack each other because of language. You're a Telugu guy, and it happened some time back, a few years back in Karnataka. Karnataka and Tamil people had this whole fight going on. Which is a better language, older language, or something like that. And they would burn down properties belonging to Tamil people, and the vice versa would happen. Glorious civilization we are living in. Something as inconsequential as a language can divide people. I'm not saying it's not important, but it will divide people. Or it can be used as a tool to divide people and create enmity. What is said here? There will be enmity between nations. It's said here. Relationships become very strained and end in enmity. Even a simple thing like language can be used to create enmity. That's the kind of world we are living in. It is an insane, mad world. Crazy, mad world. We can't live. We should not belong to. That's why Prabhupada says minimum dealings with the outside world. Minimum. You want to go there, make money, come back, earn some money, come back. Minimum dealings, minimum trust. Because you don't know who will turn around you and cheat you. Minimum trust, minimum dealings, and associate only in the assembly of devotees. Live with the devotees, work with the devotees as much as you can. Practice sadhana with the devotees and build a whole community which is based on morality, bhakti, upholding these principles of morality and bhakti. But even within the community of devotees also, we can't be, what can we say? We can't be all naive. There has to be a proper structure of authority. There's the guru, there is the acharyas, there's a Brahminical class, and like that. There has to be a justice system within a community of devotees also. Because sometimes those tendencies of the material world creep into the devotee communities also. But nevertheless, here, because we understand the eternality of the soul, there is God, there is bhakti, there is dharma, there is carry forward karma into my next life. People tend to be very cautious and mindful. So basically, Jadabharata is warning Rahuguna, saying an unregulated society will develop, will degrade eventually into enmity, complete enmity, distrust, hatred, exploitation, embarrassment, disease. It will deteriorate into that. An unregulated, unprincipled, godless society will eventually become like that. The kind of money and security arrangements the kings of this world, kings and ministers have to do is unbelievable. Because they're so scared that if they don't have that guards and security around them, somebody will kill him off. Somebody will pop him out. Because of envy, because you know, everybody wants to be big and powerful in this world. So that is the material world. That's the life, normal day-to-day life in the prison. In the prison of material world, material life. But the acharyas come, the Lord sometimes incarnates in the prison house just to show us that this is prison, there's a world outside. Sometimes we are so ignorant that we don't even know that there's a world outside. We don't even believe. We don't even accept easily. For us, this is everything. In this prison, prison is not your real home, buddy. There's something else outside. That's the real world where you came from. You're born in the prison, you're living in the prison, you die in the prison. Somehow you entered the prison. And you think this is it, this is my life, this is my Swarupasthana, prison. No, it's not. By some mistake you entered prison house, but there's a real world outside. My world, where I live, with my countless number of devotees. And we live happily, by the way. You don't have to live like animals here. Being cheated, either cheating or being cheated. Betraying or being betrayed. Being exploited or become the exploiter. This is not life. This is not meant for human beings or gentlemen. This is prison. In prison, everybody is very, very rebellious and degraded to a large extent. But outside in the real world, the real sweet qualities of the Jivatma are manifest fully. Because the fear is gone. When people are not fearful and people are dharmic, they love to be very righteous, truthful, honest, because they don't have the fear. They don't fear anybody. They know that whatever they deserve, they will get. Nobody's going to cheat them of it. So they happily, very lovingly, voluntarily practice dharma, truthfulness, honesty, tolerance, forgiveness, bhakti. Everything will manifest in the living end, but provided it is God-centric. Understanding that in the other world, the Lord is the master. And His word is the law. He is the master and His word is law. Actually, the Lord is the eternal Surdam Sarva Bhutanam. Lord is the eternal loving well-wisher. He's not an exploiter like the current rulers are. He's not cheat, he doesn't exploit, he doesn't promote his family at the cost of everybody else. He promotes all of us actually. We are his real family. All the living entities are his real and only family. Yes, some of us have chosen to ignore him. And he's waiting for us to come back. But actually, once in the spiritual world, once in the Vaikuntha world, we accept Krishna as our real loving father. Loving Ashraya, protector. And Krishna is waiting to play that role. So we just have to understand, Jadabharata is pointing out that life in the material world, no matter where we begin, eventually will end in enmity in the material world. in material dealings, in the material frame of living, in the material environment, it will end with enmity. Because we have fear, because we also have, see, the living entity has 4 defects. We know that. Tendency to cheat, imperfect senses, can be bewildered, can be confused, etc. Illusioned. So, the living entity has this tendency to cheat. But all of that will get covered by the Yogamaya energy of the Lord. See, the living entity under illusion has these 4 conditionings. Living entity under the material influence has these 4 conditionings. But the real living entity in its original, uncontaminated, pure state has nothing but love for Krishna. Nothing else except love for Krishna. And that also very intense love for Krishna. But in its conditioned state has these 4 defects. Tell me, when all the society people have these 4 defects, can there be peace? Can there be tranquility? Can there be harmony? Can there be dharma? Anything? Nothing. We can't expect any of these things in the prison house. Because everybody is suffering from contamination of the 3 modes of nature. And we are influenced. We are under the total grip of the 3 modes of nature. And on top of it, we have these 4 defects. It's a deadly combination. 3 modes of nature and 4 defects. It will end up as enmity. Like I said, sometimes enmity can be for a silly reason as a language, a color, or caste, or you support this club, I support that club, or whatever, something, sports. Silly. But in its uncontaminated state, free from the influence of the 3 modes, the living entity does not have anything except love for Krishna. And love for everybody, because everybody is connected with Krishna, love for Krishna and His creation. So that is why in the Christian Bible, Christian setup also, there's this whole concept of paradise, heaven, where everybody loves everybody else. But they just don't know how to achieve it. No idea that it's a different world altogether. Definitely they don't know how to achieve it. They're not very clear. But then the concept is there. That concept of paradise, heaven is inviting the living entities. Come there, come there. That's your real world. Even in Quran, for instance, there's a Jannat. Jannat means heaven. Very, very inadequate information about how to get there. What is binding us here? The 3 modes of nature, the 4 defects, and all, selfishness, all of that. Very little information on all of that. It's pretty, you could say, if a genuine seeker of truth is there, it's very non-helpful scripture, incomplete and non-helpful. It's not complete. It doesn't reveal everything properly and completely. But Vedic scriptures are different. They are the encyclopedia. They're complete. They're very satisfying. And every conceivable question that you may have has already been asked and answered. So that's why it is said, Atato Brahma Jignasa. You begin by asking yourself, what's going on here? Why do I always have fear in my heart? Fear, anxiety, loneliness, uncertainty, fear of future, fear of the unknown in my heart. Why can't I be peaceful? Why am I always being made a slave? Why have I become a slave of my senses? Slave of my urges, sensory urges? Why do I feel so incessantly passionate and lusty and greedy and also envious? You can ask Atato Brahma Jignasa, inquire. Ask. Then you realize that you're live a different kind of life, but for that you need to make a little bit of an endeavor, also known as sadhana. A little bit of sadhana. At least begin with inquiry, then you will understand, and then you make a call. Whether you want to follow that, how you want to follow, like that. So the scriptures are always eternally helpful because they are, they are, they are the compassionate form of the existence of the Lord. The Lord's compassion comes down in the form of scripture, the holy name, Guru, Acharya, like that. Compassion for all of us. So that is why when we take shelter of a bona fide Guru, bona fide process, we become very satisfied, fearless, by and large, fearless, very hopeful of the future. And we have a goal, we have a path, we have a process on which slowly our faith will increase. And as we increase faith and as we practice, we start realizing that I'm coming out of the influence of the three modes of nature and the four defects that I have. So Acharya is the one who teaches, Guru Acharya is the one who teaches what is already there in the scripture, but he teaches us. And he teaches us, and we like to listen to him because he also follows. We don't like to listen to somebody who doesn't follow. And these are truthful statements of the Lord, hence they have power. Prabhupada said purity is the force. They are absolute truth. So absolute truth has absolute power also. Absolute truth means they are words of the absolute personality of God. And his words are as powerful as he is when properly received. So imagine you're listening to the Supreme Lord's eternal message, also known as Sanatan message, Sanatan Dharma. Eternal words that have reverberated in this whole material world. The words of God. These words of God, words of Lord are powerful. Very powerful. And the process of bhakti is also powerful. And the Acharya is because he is teaching us the eternal message of Krishna and the path to become free, he is also very powerful and empowered. So anybody who takes this process of bhakti seriously, best he will start understanding, and this warning that Jadabharata is giving Rahugana may not apply to them. May not apply to them. Actually, Rahugana is being warned. Saying if you follow the regular materialistic process of life, this is what will happen to you. There will be enmity, there will be disease, there will be suffering, there will be embarrassment, there will be insult, there will be betrayal, there will be cheating, there will be this. This is all there is in the material world. Occasionally, little bit of pleasure will be there. Little bit. Occasionally. But in order to obtain that pleasure, that little bit of pleasure, you have to go through so much suffering. The spiritual world is different. So Rahugana is being told, you may be the king, but you are not free from the influence of three modes, material defects, and all the phenomena, all the phenomena that happen in a material world, in a material frame. You have to come out of that. Only when you come out of that, you will experience something else. So the same case for us, we have to come out of this trap of three modes of nature, believing that this material world is everything. You have an Acharya, you have Guru, you have the scripture. Grab it, take hold of it, and practice bhakti as earnestly, as enthusiastically. And then you'll realize that this is prison house and my house is elsewhere. Krishna is calling me there. So the pastimes in Vrindavan that Lord enacts is only to attract us to the actual Dhamma. Vrindavan comes down, Golok Vrindavan comes down into the material world. The Lord enacts his pastime just to attract all of us. How happiness in the spiritual world is vardhanam, ever increasing. Happiness in the material world is always decreasing. Happiness with Krishna is always increasing. Anandambudhi vardhanam. Purnamritaswan. Param vijayate. How with Krishna there's only victory. There's no pain, there's no suffering, there's only victory. There's only happiness, ever increasing happiness. Krishna comes here to attract us. Krishna comes here to show, I can be your friend. Like I am the friend of all my associates in Vrindavan. I want to be your friend. Come. I'm waiting. Here's the process. Here's my address. Here's how you can call me. Here's how you can connect with me. Everything the Lord has revealed. How you can connect with me. How you can come to me. How you can get my shelter. I'm waiting. Otherwise, exactly like what Jadabharata is warning Rahugana, that will be our life. Actually, when we see people come to the temple first time, second time, you can see on their face there's so much pain, anxiety, fear, uncertainty, hopelessness, depression. It said that out of 5 people in America, I mean in the Western world, close to 3 people have this problem of depression. How will people in the prison be happy or joyful? You tell me. Just that they don't know. They think, like I said, this ignorance has become so deep that they think that is their life, living in the prison. That's not true. But when they taste the holy name, take prasad, associate with devotees, the same person you can see. So much brightness. Prabhupada said, they wear tilak, and they chant Hare Krishna, they're jumping and dancing. They look like white elephants who have descended from the spiritual world. Straight from the spiritual world, they have descended. That's how they look like. So the choice is ours. Do we want to become like how Jadabharat is warning Rahugana, or do you want to be eternally happy under the shelter of Guru, Sadhu, Scripture? Do you want to be completely bound up by the 3 modes of nature, or do you want to be under the divine Yogamaya Shakti of the Lord, which provides happiness, which provides peace, and or you want to be under materialistic, or you want to be under the Ladini Shakti of the Lord, where we are also engaged in providing happiness to the Lord. So this is a choice we have to make. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Any questions or comments? Yes. Yeah. It has to. Okay, you're saying. Go ahead, take the mic.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class you have said, Prabhu. So, my question is regarding like in the Kali Yuga, people are bound to get degraded. But here, Iskcon is trying to make people better, and they are trying to make people a Brahman class again. Making a good leaders and everything. But it is also again bound to get degraded. I mean, at last it is going to get degraded, and here we are trying to make it a better place again. I mean, so I mean, like devotees have the thought of making this prison house or a where a chance is there for us to make it better. But I mean to say like it will still at last get degraded. So then, how our work is efficient like that, Prabhuji?
So your point is that even if we improve, but because of the influence of Kali Yuga, there is a strong tendency that we'll get degraded again. That's your point, right?
Yes, again, in the people who are there in the people who are there in the Kali Yuga,
People who are there,
people who are there, so they're bound. I mean to say,
there.
uh, Kali Yuga, the people who are in the Kali Yuga people, they are going to get the intelligent class, which that they are not going to be there. Like devotees are trying, going. Is it about like going against to the not shastras?
Okay, going against the normal trend in Kali Yuga
No, Prabhuji, I know
because
when
of the devotees' intervention.
yes, Prabhuji, because Kali Yuga has to lead degradation, and acharyas come here. They give knowledge and they protect us. Like, is there any chance that the Kali Yuga's statements which are there that it has to be degraded by mercy of the acharyas? Can it be changed? Like people can
Okay,
be better again.
you're saying by the mercy of the acharyas, can Kali Yuga become Satya Yuga? Something like that. See, let me tell you something. In reality, we can say that the acharyas and the dear devotees of the Lord have the power, have the capacity to do something inconceivable. by their blessing, something which is impossible normally can happen. By the mercy of the acharyas and something which is impossible, inconceivable, cannot be imagined, can happen. You can never doubt the potency of the acharyas, Guru, Krishna, acharyas. They are very inconceivably powerful. If they wish, Krishna can make it happen. Like Nalakuvara and Manigriva, they are the most degraded specimens of Kali Yuga, what you are talking about. Most degraded specimens. Because they were wealthy, they were powerful, they were young, they had so much arrogance, and so all kinds of degraded habits they had displayed. And that too in front of a great personality called Narada Muni. Shamelessly they were displaying their arrogance, and they were drunk and like that. But because Narada Muni felt compassionate upon them, saying that your father is a great man, he's a great Devata, Kubera. He served the deities, he served the cause of Dharma, and in his own way served the Lord, maybe a little indirectly. He's done such great thing, and you're spoiled children of a great father. So I'll curse you, but at the same time, this curse will become a benediction for you. So he curses them, they become trees in the compound of Lord Krishna's house in Nandagaon. And then we know the story that how Krishna actually liberates them. And when Krishna liberates them, he brings down the two trees and liberates them. And Krishna says, actually, I don't know who you are. I mean, he tells Manigriva and Nalakuvara, he says them. But I'm doing this because my pure devotee wished that I should liberate you. And also you go back. I will absolve you. I will free you from all your karmic reaction, etc. You go back. That's because of the wish and blessings that you got from my pure devotee Narada, and I am duty bound to make any of such benediction come true. My pure devotee does that, and I have to make it true. I have to make it come true. Which is why Krishna says, Name Bhaktya Pranashyati. His word will never, the word of a pure devotee will never be destroyed or dishonored by the material system. So the acharyas have the power to change anything. Like you said, they can even change the normally degraded atmosphere of Kali Yuga into something else if they wish to. But of course, the acharyas will also comply with the overall vision of the Lord. Kali Yuga is meant for a certain purpose. So they may not want to upset, challenge or upset the plan of the Lord. There is the Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali. So they may not want to do that. But in principle, they're just about as powerful as the Lord is. Because whatever they wish, the Lord will make it happen. That's the principle here. Okay. But your question about what happens to the living entities, won't they get degraded again? But our acharyas explain, the scriptures explain that if we take shelter of Krishna, we become liberated. We go back to some other birth elsewhere, where it's more favorable to perform bhakti. And another set of living entities will come into this Kali Yuga. May not be the same living entity. Because once you touch the holy name, the Hare Krishna mantra, take shelter of a guru, start practicing bhakti, sadhana bhakti, you'll never reverse, you'll never degrade to that extent again. Very rarely. Unless you've committed some unimaginable, very severe aparad, Vaishnava, Guru, Ninda aparad. You will always make a progress. You go away from Kali Yuga, maybe Dwapara Yuga, Satya Yuga, somewhere you will be born in a rich aristocratic family, devotee family, as a devotee with strong devotional inclination. Someone else, some other Atma will come and take your place here. So there are many Atmas waiting to come and be born in Kali Yuga. So it's not necessarily the same Atma. Once you catch the process of bhakti, you're definitely sure to get liberated. It's just a matter of time, how soon or how late. So it's a different set of living entities which will come and populate this world. So it's not the same living entity. It makes progress, falls down, makes progress, then falls down. It doesn't happen. That's the promise that Krishna makes. He says, whatever progress you make is always protected. Next life, when you begin a life of a devotee, you begin from the point where you left off in your previous life. This is the only process where such benefit is there with you eternally. Nobody can take it away from you. Even if temporarily you've stopped being a devotee, you've forgotten, you've neglected. But when you commence your bhakti, you commence from the point where you had progressed till where you had progressed in your previous attempt. So we don't have to worry. It's not a hopeless, it's not like a cycle. You go up and then come down and then, no, it's like upward spiral. It's more like a spiral rather than a circle. You don't come back. Okay? That much you can have confidence. All right? Any other question? Why you have a follow-up question? Yes, tell me.
Like, regarding you have said that the king will get the 1/6 of the karma of the citizens. King will get the 1/6 of the karma of the citizens. Does it also apply to the leaders, having a small group, or an institution, the leaders who are, taking care of an institution or head of an institution, they'll also get the karma who are working under them?
Somebody has to repeat, the audio is not good. No, don't use the mic. It's echoing. Tell me what he said, some substance. Yeah, why not? Prabhupada used to say, the karma of my disciple is coming to me, and that's why I see what's happening to me. The karma of disciples go to the Guru. Sometimes, karma of the children go partly to the parents. Karma means whatever wrong they have done, partly it goes to the parents. So similarly, it goes to the Guru, it goes to the king, it goes to like that. The whole thing is, some portion of it is distributed. Which is why it said that in Kali Yuga, if somebody becomes the head of a month or a king, it's actually a curse. Because it's a curse. It's not a blessing in disguise. It's the other way around. What do you say? It's a curse it's curse in disguise. It's actually a curse in disguise. Because he'll take 1/6 of the karma of his. Like, there's this proverb. You want somebody to suffer. In the olden days, this proverb used to be told. You want someone to suffer. You go to his house and gift him a pair of elephants. I'm so happy with you. I like you so much. I brought a small gift for you and gift him a pair of elephants. Because in order to take care of these elephants, this fellow will suffer so much. It's actually a curse in disguise. But then, the acharyas are so compassionate. Their compassion is their most powerful, quality. Knowingly, they accept disciples and take their karma. He says, doesn't matter, I will suffer. You become a devotee now. We cannot imagine, we cannot conceive who acharyas, how a genuine, real Vaishnava is. They say, you be happy, you take prasadam. Doesn't matter, I'll go back, cook again. You are happy. You come from so far, you take prasadam. The last grain of prasadam they will serve, and they'll go back and, they will never say, I didn't take prasad, so I cannot. Acharyas are very different. They're made up very differently. Their value system, they're very amazing. They're a complete antithesis of material world. They say, okay, you be happy, I'll take your karma. Who will come and say that? Who in his right mind will come and offer that? Knowingly, they accept. Not even 1/6. It is said, sometimes they take all of it. They pray to Krishna saying, relieve him from all his suffering. If you wish, you can give it to me. But let that person be happy, become devotee. He cannot handle all these difficulties, challenges, turmoils, trouble. Let him be protected in all ways. Like that, Guru will always make prayers. We cannot find that type of selflessness in this modern world. Parents are not willing to, take some of the. Parents don't care so much for children. Children don't care so much for parents. The wife doesn't care for the husband. Husband doesn't care for the wife. Neither of them care so much for the children in the modern day world. But Guru is different. He's complete antithesis. Completely opposite. That's why Krishna protects the acharyas. He says, treat them as you treat me. Exactly the way you treat me, treat them also. You have no idea how important they are in this material world. They are my representatives. It's because of them that the message that I am giving is being propagated and more people are coming under this shelter. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Huh? Devotees, please come sit down. Everybody sit down. We'll sing Damodar. Bhaktulandaru Randi Kuchundi. Somebody to play Mridanga is there? Hare Krishna. Bhaktulandaru, please come sit down. We can sing Damodar Ashtakam together. Somebody play Kartal. Namamishwaram Saj Chidanandarupam Rasat Kundalam Go Kule Brajamanam Saj Chidananda